What's up, guys? Jared on an island here. So, why is life boring? I'm going to give you an answer. And this answer isn't going to be a fully fledged out plan for you because it is different for everyone. But here you go. The reason why life is boring is because you lack agency. And this is a problem for most people. But the people who find life the most boring and actually look up an answer for it and don't just go with the flow, the answer is that you lack agency. What do I mean by this? And you may be wondering, why is no one else bored? Why does it seem like no one else is bored? Well, everyone is somewhat bored, but they're not bored enough to do something about it. Most people will just go with the flow and allow life to occur for them. You, on the other hand, have this urge to look up why life is bored, aka why you're watching this video. And you have this tiresome urge that you need to get rid of, which leads to you asking these questions. And the reason why is because you lack agency. For me personally, I felt this the most when I lacked the most agency, and that was probably in my teenage years when I didn't have much control over my day-to-day life. If you're going to school and it feels so repetitive, it feels like um, there's nothing new or exciting in your world, that is because you lack agency, because you have no control over this day-to-day life. Now, there is a first step which a lot of people don't like to cross, and that holds a lot of people back from even asking this question. And that is that you do have to be bored to create your own ideas, and your own ideas will manifest through your boredom. But the thing is, most people don't even get to that point because they're okay with letting life decide things for them. Um, you see this in adulthood with people who kind of get a job, and the reason why they don't quit it is because they're comfortable. They're annoyed. I promise you, they're annoyed. They don't really enjoy it all that much, but they don't hate it enough to change it. That's usually how life goes for most people, and you'll realize that with time that you know people are more pressured. Like, people don't really act on positive things as they much as they do for negative things. So what do you need to do? You need to do things like a dopamine detox where you literally just have nothing in a room. You don't even look at anything colorful, and you just have a journal in front of you and you just let your thoughts spew onto the paper. And you're going to have these you're going to feel like you're done. You've already detoxed, or you're too bored, or stuff like that. But you do need to go through this in order to know what the future holds for you. For me, I remember the first time I did it, I was in college. Uh, I was in my freshman dorm, and I literally sat there, no phone. I pointed everything away from me, like that had was color, any posters, any books, anything like that, put it away. Literally just stared at a wall for 3 hours, and I had a journal, right? And I just wrote down every thought I had, and it made me like, I seriously, only 3 or 4 hours of this and I already was like detoxed mentally, like completely changed, um in terms of like what I found exciting and what I knew was exciting to me. I don't know, just writing it out helped that much. But and it's really, really hard to pressure yourself to do this when you know you need it, but I promise you it will help. You got to at least do it once to know. So yeah, so you're gonna want to do that first. Second thing you're gonna want to do is write out what you want. And obviously you have this urge to find what you want, but actually knowing what you want is a completely different experience. And of course you have to weigh the pros and cons and see, like, same as what I said normal people do, where they weigh the pros and cons of, say, changing a job that they don't really like, and they decide, you know what, the cons of being uncomfortable and finding something I really like don't outweigh the pros. So you're going to want to do that for yourself with your own agency, because we do live in a world where, you can't do everything you want all the time. For me personally, I would like to live on a homestead, and I will do it. I will. But the thing is that I can't right now because of external factors, because of worldly factors, financial support, which is why I need you to subscribe. And I got to make sure that I am responsible myself enough to live out this dream. But you have to commit to it. And I know that if I had that, it would be the ultimate form of agency over what I want to do, right? So you need to ask yourself these questions and decide what it is that you want to have control over. Okay, so next thing that you need to consider is what can you do in the meantime, right? So what you can do is going to be a little bit depressing, I'm sorry to tell you. But because you don't have complete agency, you're still going to have to deal with these negatives that happen day to day and why you feel this way. You're Instead of being completely bored, you're going to be more annoyed at the fact that you don't have what you want immediately. Okay? So so you're going to have to learn to negotiate with your own emotions. You're going to have to realize, you know what, these feelings are fleeting and I can deal with what I have now. Um, because you're choosing to deal with it, it is a completely different thing than having to deal with it. You choose to be in control over the fact that you don't have control, right? Because you're aware of it. It comes with awareness. So you need to be, this is like a sense of maturity about it. It does suck and it isn't right, but it's happening, okay? And you knowing that is the first step to moving forward and past that. Um, the next thing is, now that you know your long-term goals, you're going to want to make short-term goals for this, of course. I think any of you guys are smart enough to know what I'm talking about. Little things you can do day to day to build up to your goal. You're going to come to a point where you're going to need to decide to throw everything away. Just like how I was explaining, normal people are addicted to their job, that also, or like their thing that they're not really happy with, that also comes with a whole bunch of things that they may think they enjoy. Um, Whether that's drama, certain friendships, your thing that you crave, like for me, it probably is like fast food. If I lived in the middle of nowhere, I don't get fast food anymore. And yes, I am addicted to fast food in a lot of ways. So I have to separate myself from that addiction. If you like going out with your friends all the time, that might be something you have to give up. A lot of people don't realize how much of their free time, their agency time, they give up by hanging out with friends or playing video games and stuff like that. Now, if that time genuinely helps you get to your goal, in that it lets you be creative, think freely, set up those small or long-term goals, then go ahead and do it. But you got to be honest with yourself. Does it really help or is it hurting? If you're not acting optimally, then you're most likely hurting yourself, sorry to say. And this is taking away from your agency. Like fast food, for example. If I eat a ton of fast food, I know the next day, or let's say going to a bar or something, if I get drunk or something, the next day I don't have enough agency. Like, I don't have agency because I don't have the energy to be creative, be optimal, and push myself to accomplish the next set of goals. And these responsibilities, it's completely different than a job responsibility, which makes it a lot more enjoyable in retrospect. Okay. And because, like, okay, like here's another example: practicing guitar. I want to be good at guitar. When you may hate the fact that you have to practice, that's fair. Nobody likes to not be good at something instantly. But the thing is that you get to look back on it and say, well, you know what? Like, it did help me get to my goal, or you know what? I did enjoy it somewhat, compared to something that you have no agency over. That is a responsibility. Like, if you're at your job and you're doing something of no value, or of very little value compared to the value of yourself, then you're gonna hate that responsibility a lot more. Let's think of an example. One would be, let's see. Okay, in the corporate world, there's like this whole sense of, using corporate language, unnecessary corporate language, being unnecessarily nice to people. That is one thing where it's like, I feel like guys relate to this a lot. You would rather just say the straight straight to it, like straight to the point. And you can't do that in the corporate world. You have to say certain lingo and certain ways of communicating things in a non-emotional tone or whatever else. And that's a responsibility you didn't decide for yourself, and people don't enjoy it. Sorry. So yeah, I'm trying to think of another one. Let's see. Um, hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, let me know if you can think of one in the comments. But yeah, basically, if you aren't making these responsibilities yourself, it drains from your soul, and it does make life a lot more boring. That's probably why you're here, honestly. I'm telling you, this is a contributing factor to why you even asked this question. Because I bet you don't even know why, or you didn't know why you asked this question to begin with. You probably felt there's a South Park episode about this actually. It's pretty old, but like I'm pretty sure it's Stan. He feels like everything is like poop, right? It's like everything's just shit, and he doesn't really enjoy it that much. Um, and I'm giving an answer for that. It's because he lacked agency. He in the episode kind of deals with it by saying, "Oh, it's a part of maturing." I think that is like a force-fed solution because one, dealing with a problem like that, that's not how life's supposed to be. I will never believe that life is supposed to be like that. That doesn't make sense. You're not supposed to hate life. Why would we be put here if you're supposed to hate life? Makes no sense. So I think it's because, he in the situation, this is kind of like, I don't know, this might be dumb deep, but as a character, he has no control over what happens in his world behind him. The whole entire show is about things happening to him. And you here's another good example. People don't like normal like top 100 music usually. You like your own preference of music because you got to choose it. You had a choice over what you like and what you don't. So when you're force fed 80s music, 90s music on the radio or in a store or whatever, there's like a higher chance, of course, of you not enjoying. Like, I don't know, this might not make sense, but of course you're not going to enjoy it. You may actually, like, instead of being like, oh, it's just music I don't like, you might actually get mad that it's playing because it's being force fed upon you. Everyone has a song that they really don't like. Dance Monkey much? Like, come on, Dance Monkey by Tones and I. Nobody liked that song when it first came out. It was force fed to you. And one thing you start to learn when after you feel this way is that so many things like aren't on popularity control, aren't on aren't even a thing of mass. Like, people aren't all choosing this. It's chosen for everyone, and people don't enjoy that. People really don't. And then you notice as like a third stage after all this that people enjoy things as a cope for because they don't know what else to enjoy. They feel like there's no other choice, so it becomes an illusion of choice. And then they enjoy things like football fans that get pissed at everything that happens in football. That's a cope of enjoyment. You don't even enjoy it. You're getting pissed off at every single game, every single player, every single little thing. It's like what is it called? Like suppressed rage, suppressed emotion coming out through a pretend hobby. It's not okay. It's not okay. Complete fabrication of what life is supposed to be. It's not natural. It's not natural at all. And you can look up people who talk about this like philosophy of life sort of thing. A controversial one is Godis, of course. He talks about how unnatural things are copes, like for regular people, and that is a true thing that happens a lot. People create so many random things to cope with the fact that they aren't naturally happy. And let me know if you can think of any in the comments too. But you'll definitely see it after you ask this question and have this feeling. You'll definitely see it. That's definitely a phase. And listen, it's not going to be easy to become happy, okay? Especially if you're bored of everything. It's not going to be easy to find interest in things. You're probably not as normal as everyone else, sorry to say. And if you want to be, the harder you force it, the less likely it's going to happen. So you might as well enjoy your weirdness and your special interest, dive into it extremely deep and specialize in it, and then come out of it keeping your mind open for other things. You'll be surprised what other things come to you and you can find. And, that's why I think you should subscribe to me, because I like finding other people's special interest and we get to explore that. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if this helped at all. Let me know if you have any other solutions. Peace.